Maintaining hope in the face of hard truths, finding balance between optimism and realism at work abstract. This article explores achieving and maintaining a healthy balance between optimism and realism in organizational leadership. The author argues that optimism alone can lead to disappointment when realities are ignored, while realism alone breeds cynicism that undermines morale and progress. However, balancing optimism and realism through deliberate efforts can help organizations survive challenges and thrive. Key recommendations include leading with hope while governing with truth, using both inspiration and evidence to rally support, directly acknowledging difficulties but focusing on solutions, embracing complexity rather than oversimplifying, and keeping discussions centered on controllable factors. Maintaining this optimist-realist balance cultivates resilience and collective motivation to navigate uncertainties. It gives organizations the flexibility and fortitude to handle adversities while advancing ambitions. Anchoring in both hope and veracity grounds leaders to not just persevere but make progress towards a brighter future. I've seen my fair share of leadership challenges. Through it all, one issue consistently arises: striking the right balance between optimism and realism. Getting this balance wrong can undermine morale, productivity, and overall well-being for everyone involved. But with a deliberate approach, it is possible to maintain hope in the face of hard truths. Optimism alone leads to disappointment. Realism alone breeds cynicism. But together, they can help organizations not just survive but thrive. Today we will explore my perspectives on achieving and maintaining a healthy balance of optimism and realism at work. Defining optimism and realism. To start, it's important to clearly define what is meant by optimism and realism. Optimism refers to having a generally positive outlook and believing that good things will happen or desirable results will be achieved. Research shows that optimism is correlated with better health, higher achievement and greater well-being. Schulman, 1999. However, unchecked optimism risks overlooking problems or dismissing difficulties as temporary setbacks. Realism, on the other hand, is about facing facts objectively and accepting situations for what they are, without embellishing positives or exaggerating negatives. Realism helps ensure plans, goals, and resources match reality. Yet too much focus on challenges and constraints alone can undermine morale and dampen drive. The key, as with many things, lies in balance. Optimism without realism sets us up for disappointment, while realism without optimism breeds stagnation. Organizations need both to weather adversity and maximize opportunity. Achieving this balance requires conscious effort from leadership. Lead with hope, govern with truth. A cornerstone of maintaining balance is the message and actions demonstrated from the top. As leaders, it is crucial that we lead with hope but govern with truth. This means communicating a compelling vision for the future while also providing unvarnished assessments of present conditions. For example, when my firm was facing a significant economic downturn a few years ago, I made sure to acknowledge the very real challenges we all saw while also emphasizing my belief, supported by data, that with focused effort our business could not only survive, but continue growing. Focusing too much on either hope or truth alone would have undermined the other. Use inspiration and evidence in tandem. Building on this, leaders should use inspiration and evidence in tandem when bringing people together around goals. Sharing inspirational stories that lift spirits is vital, but not at the expense of providing objective analyses, metrics and facts. Likewise, focusing only on objective reports risks coming across as overly critical or dampening initiative. During a reorganization at a major non-profit I assisted, the CEO balanced hopeful anecdotes from successful community partnerships with detailed analyses showing how proposed changes aligned financial realities with their mission. Presenting vision and veracity together cultivated buy-in where an exclusively optimistic or realistic approach may not have. Acknowledge challenges directly while optimism is necessary for advancing ambition. directly acknowledging difficulties and challenges, rather than deflecting or dismissing them, builds trust and focuses collective efforts. Some of the most effective leaders I've seen did not shy away from conveying real concerns transparently when needed, but confidently insisted on our ability to meet or overcome them through coordinated action. For instance, when news broke of a global logistics issue threatening supply chains in my manufacturing client's industry, the CEO called an emergency all-hands meeting. There, she discussed implications and uncertainties frankly, thanked teams for rapid prior problem-solving, and asked for input on response strategies, instilling calm resolve where panic may have otherwise flourished. Direct challenge discussion, balanced with solution-seeking, cultivated resilience. Embrace complexity and nuance. Maintaining organizational balance also requires resisting oversimplification and embracing complexity. The world rarely deals in absolutes of only positives or negatives. Leaders nurture optimism and realism by acknowledging nuanced truths, that challenges exist alongside opportunities, and limitations co-occur with potential. When guiding a technology startup through funding negotiations, I found framing outcomes probabilistically rather than definitely helped balance hopeful aspirations with pragmatic planning. Saying, "This outcome is quite likely if we do X, Y, Z," acknowledged challenges inherent to their situation without dismissing possibilities, creating a shared understanding that problems can be managed, if not prevented entirely. Framing challenges and potential as coexisting brought out the best thinking. Focus on controllables. Lastly, leadership helps strike the optimist-realist balance by centering discussions on factors within our control. While acknowledging hard facts, the emphasis stays on variables we can directly influence through coordination and effort, like strategy, execution and teamwork, rather than dwelling on external uncertainties entirely outside our sphere. During budget negotiations with the city council that nearly derailed a large public works project, my client's project manager steered conversations back to operational and community benefits rather than debating political headwinds beyond our authority. This kept optimism for positive impact alive while also giving councillors concrete management milestones to track progress objectively. Centering on controllables where possible maintains balance even in complex multi-stakeholder scenarios. Conclusion: optimism alone risks neglecting realities, while realism alone can stall action and diminish spirit. But together, and with intention from leadership, optimism and realism reinforce one another to sustain meaning, momentum and achievement despite inevitable challenges. Leading with hope and governing with truth fosters both clear-eyed thinking and visionary mindsets. Communicating evidence and aspiration side by side garners buy-in. Directly addressing hard facts builds confidence in our capacity to handle difficulties. Embracing complexity adds nuance needed to understand both potential and limitations. And focusing discussions on controllables within our authority keeps energy directed productively. Maintaining this optimist-realist balance gives organizations the cognitive flexibility and collective fortitude to not only weather adversity but advance ambition even in uncertain times. It cultivates the resilient mindsets and united effort that transforms challenges into opportunities. In an unpredictable world, anchoring in both hope and veracity grounds us to not just persevere but progress towards a brighter future.